Welcome to the Stronger Tides Podcast, the podcast for small business entrepreneurs and corporate executives to learn more about increasing their client or employee retention through a group cruise program. Ready to drop anchor? Here's your host, travel advisor Rita Perez.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. So glad to have you here, of course. Now, this week is going to be a little bit different. I know I have been supercharging all the information and talk about the value that you get from having a corporate retreat at sea. And this week is going to be a little different / a lot different. So last week I actually did the riskiest thing I've done this whole pandemic season. I traveled for the first time in an airplane. Was I nervous? Oh yeah. I wanted to share my experience of the travel. I don't know if you yourself have been traveling or any of your colleagues, employees, any maybe family or friends. I just wanted to give a viewpoint of my experience and kind of like how I've been living my life if you haven't been following me. So this whole pandemic, I've been taking it pretty seriously, and I've been boarded up inside my house, not literally boarded up, but I stay pretty contained to my house. If I go out anywhere, it's like to a family's house, like my mom, my aunt, and her uncles, whether it's here local or just a few hours away. I've been extremely selective with who I've been around. I don't go into any stores, and I don't plan on changing that anytime soon. So I haven't gone grocery shopping in person since March. I haven't gone shopping. So yeah, you would think that it's a little bizarre for someone who hasn't done any of this stuff to go traveling. But the reasons that I did it were, one, I wanted to become some sort of example, like it's okay and it's manageable and you will survive from this. Or not from air travel, but you will survive. It's not something that, oh my gosh, you went air traveling. It's not the end of the world. I wanted to encourage travel. Bottom line. Then the second part of that is my host agency was hosting their virtual conference last week. And there were a few of us, my fellow advisors, that just wanted to get together. It wasn't going to be the same if we weren't together. And we've already experienced one industry conference that was virtual, that was amazing. But, we just missed having that human interaction. So where did I go? I went to New Hampshire. And if you're aware of some of the things that have been happening in the Northeast, New Hampshire's one of the safer states compared to being here in Florida. They follow the rules. They are better at this group project than we are in Florida, if you just look at the numbers and all that. Granted, Florida is a bigger state, so not taking that lightly, but the Northeast as a whole, it seems like they've been able to manage this more hardcore than we have. So that was one. I felt like I was going to a safe state. Two, I went on an airline, or I picked an airline that I knew was leaving the middle seat open, which was JetBlue. Now, JetBlue is not leaving the middle seat open for much longer, so for me personally, that's not going to be an option. And after having been on an airplane twice, I am not going on any airplane that doesn't keep the middle seat open. That is just ridiculous. And I think, especially for me, someone who hasn't been that close to strangers, no way. No, absolutely no way. So, yeah, I flew with JetBlue. The others that I was considering were Southwest and Delta because they are keeping the middle seat open. American and United were totally out of the picture because they are not keeping the middle seat open. The other things about these planes is that they have the HEPA filters. They also are recirculating their air every couple of minutes. So, despite popular belief, the air is not recycled internally. It does go through the open air outside of the airplane and comes inside. And just a couple other safety protocols. That's why I selected JetBlue. Let's see, what else? What else can I tell you? Oh, so I decided to pick nonstop flights. I was trying to reduce my touch points as much as possible. On top of that, I made sure to bring a carry-on with me, again, to reduce touch points. I didn't want to have to check a bag and have somebody touch my bag, somebody else other than me touch my bag, and it go through the whole circulation of that. I actually bought new luggage for this trip. It wasn't something that I was originally going to do. It really wasn't until a couple days prior to that I had thought, I should get something that's going to be wipeable. So, like a fabric, I feel would have absorbed too many germs for my liking. So I went ahead and I bought my first ever Samantha Brown luggage off of Home Shopping Network because it is a plasticky material. It was on clearance and I did have to get expedited shipping on that. But I looked gorgeous and beautiful with my awesome Samantha Brown luggage. And I felt there was that extra safety net. Masks, of course, I packed those. And I also had a face shield, and I put the face shield as soon as I got to the airport. The face shield was on, and I took it off as soon as I got into somebody's vehicle to go to a home. Face shields are not required, and I barely saw anybody with a face shield. So, do I think I was a little kooky? Heck yeah, I do. I think it is funny seeing someone in a face shield, and I was like, you know what, I'm probably overreacting. But so one of the things that I was disappointed in when I got into the airplane is people were inappropriately wearing masks. Like they weren't covering their nose and their mouth. Or, something that I don't get, people think that they can't talk on the phone with a mask on. I don't know if this is this just me or if this irks anybody else, but you can talk on your phone. Hey, interested in getting an actual numbers comparison of a land retreat versus a cruise retreat? Honestly, when I was putting this document together, I couldn't even believe the great difference between the numbers. Visit StrongerTidesPodcast.com to be added to my weekly email list and get the download now. Back to the show. With your mask on, covering yourself, and people can hear you just fine because I've done it and I've heard it and it's no big issue. But anyways, so yeah, that was going on. I thought the airlines were going to be more strict in regards to making sure your face covering is on appropriately. I don't know if it was just because it was the boarding procedure was going on. I don't know if JetBlue does not enforce mask coverings being worn appropriately, because I'm pretty sure I've heard instances like wherein Delta will ground the plane if they're not worn correctly. So that was a little downside for me, but that is also what made me super stinking happy that I had my face shield to protect me from any germs that may have come from people not wearing their mask appropriately. So on the plane, JetBlue did give out like a little, I'll call it like a little goodie bag where you had like an 8-ounce bottle of water there and 2 snacks. So like a salty snack and a sweet snack. I purposely did not, I took the bag just to have after the flight, but I was not going to drink or eat on the flight. I made sure to either do that like on the way, or I also found like spaces in the airport that were empty, that like pretty much I was the only person around, so it wouldn't really matter too much. That was super important to me. I wanted to reduce anywhere where I may have possibly been able to get any germs of any kind. Like, really, that's probably very naive of me. Like, that's not going to happen. But I had to take the extra precautions. One of the big things that I talk about is body autonomy. And no one can force me to do anything that I am not comfortable with. But at the same point, I need to make sure that I'm looking out for myself and for my body. And so those are some of the things that I did to look out for me. What else can I tell you? I'm trying to think of all the important touch points that were important for me. So went to a safe place. The people that I was going to be meeting in New Hampshire, so I didn't stay at a hotel. I stayed at a good friend's house. She offered, and it was awesome because she has so much land and there's so much forest. It was just the perfect situation. Would I stay in a hotel? I don't know. I'm kind of glad like I didn't have to make that decision. Like, I had the decision to stay in somebody's home that actually did follow the protocols. That was the other thing. Like, the people that I was going to be seeing were very strict. Like, either they limited their time out and about or they didn't go out and about that much. So, I think that's important too. That's a whole part of me being selective. Like, some people don't have that luxury. It really is a luxury that you can select the people around you who would make you feel the safest. So I think that's pretty much a very big / well-rounded account. Would I do it again? I'm not sure. Of course I'm going to be traveling again. There's no question about that. The thing that holds me are the airline protocols. Like, I want to know that the airlines are going to have my back when I am traveling. So if you're doing your walks collecting trash and you see someone is not wearing their mask appropriately, address that. I know airlines are doing it because I've seen it in the news. So that was the one downsider for me. I mean, this is all to make sure that we stop the spread and make sure to keep everybody protected. And it's a liability for you as an airline that if you're not doing these things, you're liable for a lawsuit if something were to happen. That's end tangent there. The other thing is that I naturally have a little bit of travel anxiety, and just with some personal medical situations that I have, that was like heightened to the max. And so until I can get like some medical things with me taken care of, I think I might just put a hold onto traveling so soon again. I think I would be more apt to travel like by car than by airplane. Or unless like I knew that I was flying with Delta, and Delta is super strict on all the protocols. So if I'm not flying Delta, I would probably be very hesitant. Would I recommend it to anybody? Of course I would recommend that you travel. It really is not that scary, and I think it's very personal and individualized. It's not a one size fits all. You kind of have to determine what your limits are and what you feel comfortable with and what you're going to do. Because of course, I brought the antibacterial wipes and I wipe things down. But not everybody's like that. So are you going to be okay if not everybody's doing that? And for me personally, I was okay with it as long as I did it because I'm taking care of my own space. But so that is my first travels during a pandemic since February. I was supposed to have already had 2 trips by now, but of course, you know how it goes. Let me know, have you flown? Like, what have you thought? What was your personal experience? I wanted to share this so maybe you could get some knowledge out of it, and maybe some ideas too of how to keep yourself safe if you're going to be flying soon. keep me posted, and I will see you next week. I hope you have enjoyed something a little slightly different than retreats at sea. Get a little break from that. Until next week, be safe and wear your mask.
Thanks for joining us on the Stronger Tides podcast. Please subscribe to our podcast. And if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating or a share with your colleagues. Find us on social media at Rita Ventures Group Cruising and online at ritaventures.net. Until next time, happy sailing.